Look at this particular picture here. You have to agree that there can be no more famous picture of two people smoking, quite literally, on camera on a big major motion picture. We're talking about the brilliant Bette Davis in the 1942 mega movie, Now Voyager. Now, apparently, according to Betty, she had no idea that this particular scene would become so cultish, you know. It was sort of repeated so many times, spoofed in comedy shows, but she said at the time it wasn't something that both the director and indeed her co-star ever thought would truly take off. Fascinating when you think, because we now live in a world, don't we, where that particular behavior, smoking, is really antisocial. So much so that now we're all apparently addicted to vaping. Not me, I might point out. Never smoked, never vaped. By the way, vaping is one of these. I know, you're thinking of the other thing, aren't you? But yes, vaping is that. And apparently now a bit of a problem for young people who are trying to wean themselves off becoming hooked on cigarettes. But when you think about it, and I wanted to share this with you because I'd love to know, as ever, your thoughts and comments about these particular social things, if you like. Smoking was the thing, wasn't it? Wherever you saw in a movie, there was always a major star striking up a ciggy. Remember, of course, the beautiful Lana Turner in The Postman Only Rings Twice, looking absolutely stunning in all white. It was the smoking that really made everything think, oh, wow, this is seductory, you know, all of that sort of thing. And then when you look at the big hard men of the screen like John Wayne, Humphrey Bogart, they were never without a cigarette. In fact, they used them as a prop, did they not? What was fascinating, as I say, I bumped into a guy recently that used to be one of the head marketeers for all of those old brands. And in particular, he told me this fascinating piece of info. You see, over here in the United Kingdom, way back in the middle 1950s, one of the very big, massive advertising campaigns was indeed for cigarettes. And it had a very famous slogan. You know the one? You're never alone with a strand. And it had a bit of a theme tune that everybody picked up on very quickly. This making Strand cigarettes one of the biggest selling at that particular point. And, you know, it was just an iconic moment, wasn't it? You know, if you had Strand cigarettes, apparently you were wealthy, affluent, and more importantly, go-getting. Now, he told me that the reason why so many of the cigarettes of the era were named after places in London was simply because people in the provinces felt that this was a glamorous location. So you saw things like Piccadilly, Mayfair cigarettes. And of course, for the cheaper element, there were things like Woodbines, Players Number 6, and Craven 8. Remember those? Apparently good for the throat. Fascinating. I don't know if you know this, but also in the 1950s, Sir Laurence Olivier had his own cigarette brand, but he loathed it that much, even though he was paid heavily to promote it. He would give them out to cast and crew members on the set because apparently he couldn't stand the taste. Fascinating, isn't it, when you think what people will do just for the money, you know? But of course, it went incredibly well for him, put his face on literally cigarette packets up and down the country, and reminded people that he was still very much active and thriving in the world of the theatrical actor. So there's always marketing involved. Even huge stars like Marilyn Monroe were paid to, promote cigarettes back in the day. Now, what I want to know is simply this. It's a fascinating topic, isn't it, when you look at marketing, because even today, people believe that if they tell you something enough, you will simply buy it. Now, we all know the bad things that cigarettes have done to people over the years that were, hidden away by health experts. Did you ever smoke? And more importantly, what made you give up? Was it the price? Or was there a particular brand that you thought you looked absolutely elegant? And more importantly, your friends looked as if, oh, you're smoking St. Moritz, must be wealthy, the sort of thing. As ever, I'd love to know what you think to this particular topic in the comments below. It's just fun. It's not there to judge. We don't want any nastiness. But the bottom line is, when you look back at slogans like "You're never alone with a strand," they really did impact and mega, mega sales. Can you think of anything like that today that would make us run out and spend so much money and be so influenced? Let me know in the comments below. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.